Boo, 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 boo. Got myself a crying, walking, sleeping, talking, living down. Right, let's see. The meeting is now streaming live on. Well, that's Andy. Now, let's see now if I can work this out again. Where's my Facebook? So there it is. Okay. Oh, I heard the noise there. Be with you in a moment, chaps. Let's see. There we are. I'm on live. Okay. Thanks very much. That's very kind of you. Good job you didn't swear there, wife, which was unusual. Right, let's see. Share. Sonny and share. Share to a group. Okay, share to a group. The light stream. I think I'm allowed to do that. Post. Share to another group. Solargy. Post. And let's see if there's anybody with us. Yep. Marie, morning. Jonathan. Oh, hang on. What's that noise doing that for? Right, I'm nearly with you. Just waiting now for the delectable Shaz. Bev Willow, hello, Bev love. Shaz, where are you? You're not here making comments. What's going on? Come and talk to me. I was only joking when I said be afraid. Jake, hello, Jake, son. How you doing? Hilda, good morning. Andrew, hello, Andrew. Maxine, hello, Maxine. How are you? Shanine Moulond. Hello, Mom. Nice to see you. All I'm waiting for now is me guest. Why isn't she participating in this? Maybe she's technically challenged. Shaz, hurry up. Let me go onto this iPad device. Got about 10 different devices. Hello, Tracy, love. How are you? Tracy Bodison, my God. You'd always come up smelling the roses, you. Shaz, how do I get on there? No link? There is a link. I've sent it to you on Messenger. Let me go on Messenger just to make sure that I haven't made a mistake, because I'm inclined, to do that from time to time. So if I look at Shaz Hargreaves. Oh, everything. I will send you a Zoom link. Okay, so I've done that. All right. Hey, you know what, Shaz? I might, I mightn't have sent you the link. I'm sure I did. Hang on. I'll go and find it again. Let me do it for you. Just meditate, everybody, and have a moment of mindfulness while I try and work this out again. Do 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 do. There we are. So there's the link there. Copy. I'll go on here over there like that. Go to Shaz. Sorry, Shaz, my love. Do that there. Control V. You see, Shanine, I'm good at this now. I've become like an expert. See if that's gone. Shaz, I think you may find. Let me see what's going on there now. It's saying, sorry about this, chaps. Just amuse yourselves in some way. I'll go to there. They're always the best when they manage participants. Okay, so. Right, Shaz, have a try of that, old chap. Do you like my hair? I've had it cut by a professional dog groomer. Ah, dear. Right. Okay, Shaz. I'm just waiting for you now. Is there the meeting ID? I'm clicking on it, asking for an ID to join the meeting. Oh, you are. You're here. Admit. Oh, there you go. Can you hear me?
I can.
I can hear you too.
Oh, thank God for that, Joe.
I'm sorry about that confusion. Let me say
It's
that
all right.
the masses that will be joining us made a mistake, and I apologise.
That's all right. The confusion just sums you up, Joseph.
Yes. We are living in a time of confusion. Anyway, you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to bow down with deep respect for somebody of my caliber.
Well, I'm just as confused as you see.
That's why we understand one another. We're clear in our confusion.
Yeah.
Now, listen, I can only see a small portion of your head. Is there any way to... That's better. That's better.
Oh, God, I've got to look at myself.
That's it. Where'd you get that top from? It looks very casual.
Oh, well, I'm just in my casual. That's it, Joe. You know, I come as I am.
That's the way. Yeah. Take me as you find me. And if you don't like it, well, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Because you can't win them all, can you, Shaz?
No, you can't. I've tried, Joseph, all my life.
You've gone back to a small head again. What's going on?
Is that better?
Yeah, fantastic. They're rather large glasses. Are they so that you can get a different perspective on the world?
As well as that, yeah. But these are pound ones, you see. I broke me other ones, so needs must, Joe.
Well, I'm the same. I've got me Jack Duckworth glasses here. See these?
Oh, we are.
With the safety pin in them and stuff like that. Because this is the real world we're living in, Shaz, isn't it?
That's right. That's right.
But if I was going to the university now, I'd probably have to put a suit on and a tie and put my academic glasses on, you know, because I'm beginning to see it's about playing the game, you know.
It is, yeah.
And if it doesn't really matter, why cause any disturbance, really? That's right. My view.
Yeah.
How are you, love, and yourself?
You know what? I'm absolutely loving this lockdown, to be honest with you. I'm really good today. I'm just keeping it in the day, you know. And I've come with my head this morning, you know, trying what am I going to go on and say, blah blah blah. And I thought, you know what? You just show up, Sha. You show up, who you are, and you be yourself, and that's all I've got really. Is today.
And you don't have to make anything up, do you? It's just like, this is who I am, and you know.
Yeah.
And it's not really a discussion or an argument, is it? It's just, look, this is where I'm up to, right? This is how I see things at the moment. Yeah. And I'm sure that I'll get a bit of a nudge if I'm supposed to be seeing or acting in a different way.
Absolutely.
But, so what I'm learning is, where does the nudge come from? And if the nudge comes from outside of yourself, this is what I've learned about me, then that's probably not where you want to get nudged from. You know, it's... Yeah. I'm sorry to say this word, but you know, the nudges, let's talk about nudges, because it's bound to come up because it's a bit too close. Right. You know, if someone's nudging you, it's better that it's coming from me inside self. That's the way I look at it now.
Well, that's it. You see, I'm in a friend's at the minute. I've been in a lockdown for 5 weeks with a friend, you know, and I'm very aware this morning. We call it pride, false pride, as Joseph. So my head went a little bit before, because they have different views and different beliefs and I'm sitting here thinking, I don't want to talk too loud. And all it is fear of what they'll hear and what they'll think. So I just dropped right back into my heart space and thought, you know what? just clear that chat, clear that, because you're safe enough to be who you are, and you don't owe anyone an explanation, because I did that all my life, Joe.
Yeah.
I was a prisoner to that, me. So this morning I'm safe enough to be where I am, and to be here with you and be with like-minded people. You know,
I'm made up because I've never met you in the flesh, although we don't live that far away from one another, and we did sort of set up a meeting or one, but that hasn't materialised yet. But
yeah,
I love you because I love your sense of humour. You know,
yeah,
you cut through all the crap. You know, you tell it as it is, and you do say, you know, this is the way I'm seeing it, and I could be miles off the target here, but if I am, I'm sure, you know, I'll get put right back on the path or whatever. We both
absolutely,
share we're in another fellowship that I'm not going to talk about particularly unless it pops up, you know, but we sort of share the same principles, don't we? You know,
absolutely, yeah, we do.
and you and I met first on Sology, didn't we, or through Sology? And then
Which
we
I
just,
believe was, yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
and then we discovered that we had, you know, we had similar sort of backgrounds and principles and stuff like that. So, you know, that was good, that, because my thing is, I never really identified with a lot of people when I was growing up, because I always felt like they saw the world upside down, but they told me that I saw the world upside down. Do you know what I mean? And I'm
I
beginning
do
to
know what
think,
you mean.
I'm beginning to think that our upside down version of the world was closer to the real truth than we could have
Absolutely.
imagined.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as you've just said, you know, we do share, you know, them principles, and I've got I make no bones about me being in recovery. But you know, the last and everything in me, Joseph, as you know, everything in me wants to remain sober and clean, you know, and I absolutely see that work, and for some time I had that sobriety. But I'm not going to sit here and profess that, you know, I haven't been in a dark place going back some weeks even, you know, and I have to remember me, because I've got a mind that forgets. I can sit here and talk spiritual. I can sit here and give you my experiences, my spiritual experiences. But at the end of the day, if I don't treat my alcoholism, which is by feeding me spirit, because I have to watch what's feeding me alcoholism, because my head will go off and I'll forget. And without going into it all, you know, every fibre of me didn't want to relapse, but I did. You know, and I went into detox, Joe. I had to go into detox again. I was on pain medication, opiate based, which, you know, and I ended up in this detox. And what I witnessed in there it was horrendous. You know, I was on my body a lot of the time, but what I witnessed in terms of medication, I was watching the alcoholics detox. You know, they were on the Librium, and they seemed to be a little bit more in the body and grounded, if that makes sense to you. And the addict and the medication they were giving them, it was taking them out the body completely. It wasn't alleviating the withdrawal. And I witnessed a girl, and she honestly, they had to review all her meds. And I believe in a power greater than a higher power, and my higher self. I believe all that. But the version of events that took place, you know, I spoke to one of the staff in there, and they were looking at ways of changing this the medical model to treat, you know, this because I believe it as it is, you know. No one else's views matters. It's what matters for me. I believe it is a dis-ease, you know, and there's a physical fact to that, as you know. But it was really, really interesting in there. And I got a lot of stuff while I was in there. And I don't know whether it was because of I believe I was in lucid mind. But I saw stuff in there, Joe. I saw stuff without going into it all. But I saw I was in the bath. And the next thing on the wall, I seen this skull. And the jaw came down, and it was biting into the heart. It wasn't a nice thing to be looking at, but next to it, then I seen the sacred feminine and the masculine and the child. And the message for me there was, you know, you've got to tap into this resource within you, because my mind will take me away from that. My mind will conjure up stuff that I'll believe. I mean, I got caught up in a lot of stuff in the last 2 years where it took me away, you know, from me. And that doesn't take away the experiences I had and I witnessed. And I believe, you know, the energy's coming in. I've experienced a lot of stuff around that stuff. But I have to remember my primary purpose also. I have to remember my primary purpose also, because as you know, I have a head that'll take me away from that.
I agree totally, love, with everything you're saying. I mean, my primary purpose is to stay sober,
Yeah.
and to help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety.
Good.
But then I had to look into that, right? Who are other alcoholics? And it basically looks like the whole world, right? The whole world are potentially alcoholics or some sort of chemical misusers in order to
Yeah.
treat their emotional disturbance, because I'm
Yeah.
basing it upon my life. If I couldn't get alcohol, I would smoke as many cigarettes as possible. If I couldn't get that, I'd take any single tablet. It doesn't matter what it was for, just anything to change the
Yeah.
way that I felt, to
Yeah.
change my emotional state. And I
Yeah.
realized today that if I go deep enough within myself, there's a feeling in there that can calm down any disease whatsoever.
Absolutely. And
But
can
you've
I
got
just
to go on,
Can I
love.
add
Go on.
to that? Can I add to that? I mean, collectively, I mean, it's a fear-based program. What we've been conditioned with. So if we take away the words alcoholic addict, I mean, I believe the world has been programmed with this fear-based dis-ease, so to speak. You know, and at the minute, I mean, it's interesting because I've not long had cortisone in my left hip, yeah, and somewhere in me, I knew it wasn't warranted, but they wanted to give me the cortisone in the left hip due to what I had as a child to determine what the pain was in the rest of my back. Now, I've been doing the self-care thing, but somewhere in me, I believed, you know, this wasn't going to stop because it's been at the root. It's been the root, which is my security. And it's funny, I was talking to a friend the other day, we were walking through the park. So she says to me, "You okay?" I said, "My back, the base of my back's not right again." So she said, "Okay." So when we come home, she said, "What was going on in that park?" Because another friend joined us, so the dynamics changed. So I went into self. I went into self. So she said, "Well, let's have a look at what's going on here." So when I spoke about it, the pain in the base of my back went. My security was threatened. My security was threatened. And I believe that collectively at the minute, the security is threatened to the masses, and I pick stuff up external as well. So it's not just me own internal stuff. I believe collectively this consciousness, it's all one consciousness. It's all one consciousness, you know, whether it's, you know, within where we are on this path, you know, people who are awake and waking up. But there's also part of that consciousness is still the fear-driven, programmed stuff. And I believe there's a balance going on right now. And I also believe that, I mean, I go back 2 years, I was saying to a friend, there's something massive taking place. There's something massive. The planet's birthing. I know that because I've visualized, I've seen stuff in meditation that without going into all, I don't need to. There's something massive going to take place, as we all know, and what we're experiencing right now. And I pick up on an individual basis as well as the collective, what's going on collectively, as well as my own personal stuff. So I have to discern, I have to go in and listen what's what. And I don't always do it. I'm not going to sit here and say I do that all the time, because I don't. You know, I fall short, mate, in terms of that stuff.
I think with me, Shaz, it's practice, really. I've just practiced this for quite a long time. And because it took me 9 years, right, with people trying to help me, and something in me blocked, it was called pride and fear, two blocks,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It stopped me from listening to the simple solution, right? And the simple solution is, Joe, you've come to the end of your ego thinking and your human thinking, right?
yeah,
Your problem needs something more than your thinking and the collective consciousness of the human race. They haven't got the answers for you either, right? What you need to let go is all of your intellectuality, right?
yeah,
Which, by the way, is considerable, right? Because I'm not going to knock that, right? Because I
yes,
spent, from the day that I could read, I have absorbed virtually every bloody book on the planet to try and
snap,
get an answer to my disease, right?
yeah,
To be told by a bleeding window cleaner, right, that the solution was to forget everything that I knew.
Wow. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
listen
yeah,
to
yeah.
something deeper within myself called my soul and my spirit. And it took me, as you know the story, right? It took me to the point of insanity and death, right? To
Yeah.
let go of my thinking and my egomania, right? Which still creeps in a lot
Oh,
of the
yeah.
time, and I
Yeah.
don't care anymore because there's not much I can do about it, except to say, oh, okay, it's back in again. Like you said, how do I know that my ego's back? Because I'm nowhere near ego less, and I don't think that anybody can be ego less if everything's combined in a unified field, right? So it's the attachment to ego and the ego
Oh, yeah.
thinking that's the problem. So where I'm coming to is this is what I've learned about me, rightly or wrongly, Shaz, and I don't care if I'm wrong because I will
Absolutely.
find out. I will find out sooner or later. No, Joe, you're not quite right there. Okay,
Yeah.
then, spirit, soul, God, show me where I'm not right. Okay, we'll set up a scene for you, right, where you'll find out that what it is, you see. So it's to sort of look outwards, but to reflect
Absolutely.
backwards, to feel. Excuse me one sec. All right, love. It's all right. Don't be sorry. I'll pay you back later. I'm just talking to my wife because I've got to show her
Hi,
who's
Joe's wife.
yeah, I've got to show her who's in charge. You know what I mean, Shaz?
Oh,
All right.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
She takes no bleeding notice like everybody else. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, it's the attachment to the ego self. Because to me, the ego is the human. It's the human body mind complex. All right.
Well, that's,
Go on,
yeah.
love. Go on.
Sorry, that's really interesting. And this shows me this morning I'm absolutely meant to be on this show with you because what you just said, word for word, more or less, word for word, is what I've been looking at. You know, I go external as well, Joe. Sometimes I've got something going on for me and I'm disturbed emotionally. You see, I'll go and help someone else. I'll go external. And like you said, we go outside of ourselves, and that'll even include spiritual sights, let me tell you. And I'll go external, but I had a lot of knowledge, a lot of intellect. And at the end of the day, I know cleared stuff from my past, but sitting here, I done a little thing the other day, put it into 3 columns where I had false self I put out to others, and true self. Now, the false self is all from me past, the wreckage, we call it, the wreckage of me past,
Yeah.
the labels that were put on me, like hard-faced, abusive as a child, violent. I mean, I understand why sitting here today, because, my childhood isn't what made me an alcoholic, and I believe that. But all these labels that came out, then I sat and then I looked at what I put out external, what I put out to others. And then when it comes to me true self, I put on the frightened, hurt, vulnerable. See, I couldn't do vulnerable, fragile. And then when I sat and I looked at the false self and I put an opposite to each one of them labels, and I looked at it, it was beautiful. It was beautiful what came up on that paper. And I went, wow, that's who you are, Sha. You are gentle. You're gentle, you're loving, you're caring. All fragile. A Fabergé egg is fragile. You see, I'd bristle at the word fragile or vulnerable. I'd want to fight you. I'd want to show you because I was frightened, you see. I was frightened. Do you remember when you were in school and someone would say, I want to have you a fight?
Yeah.
I mean, my nerves would be gone for days and I'd be looking at ways to get out of that because I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to fight, but I was brought up in an environment which had a lot to answer for my personality and my survival. You put me in a situation where I'd be affected and I'd react, I'd fight you. But say to me, I want to fight you in 3 days' time. God love me. I'd be terrified, Joe. I'd be terrified. And, I had to look at all that stuff. And I have cleared stuff. But what I realised is I dismiss a lot of the emotional stuff. I go from here. I can look at stuff and I can see it and say, yeah. I can see the truth. I can even say, yeah, I see the fear. But a lot of it, I hadn't felt. So when I say I've cleared, and I have cleared an awful lot of stuff by doing my meditation and going, I had part of my childhood that came back, and I used to be frightened to share it with people. And in this meditation, my higher self came in and took me back to a time of when I had this really, really deep-rooted shame going on around abuse. And I'm in this meditation, and the next thing I just got this my higher self said, That's why you always had a sore throat and a bad chest, because you could never speak your truth. You could never get it off your chest. That's why you were always sick, because you could. And the next thing, I just got the walls of fire element, and it cleared, and I sobbed. I sobbed. But they're just little snippets. I've cleared snippets of my past, and I'm okay with that, because I don't profess to have cleared everything. I believe energies that have come in have had downloads and upgrades in terms of stuff. But I'm still, there's layers and layers to me. There's layers and layers to us. So, I'm open, mate. I'm open, and I'm willing to, to clear it. But I don't profess to be here or here. I'm here. I'm in a place of neutrality sitting here today. That's just
It's
today, like.
marvelous. It's marvelous. You don't have to go on if you don't mind me saying so, but no, it's great, love, because my little catchphrase is, if there's something playing on your mind, you've got to get it off your chest, right?
Yeah.
But one thing I learned from where we go, what I learned is a little phrase that you're only as sick as your secrets, right?
Oh yeah.
And I hated that, because part of me knew that I was hiding stuff that I was either ashamed of and couldn't face it. And in the end, it becomes a face-to-face thing, this, where you turn your eyes around and you face yourself and what you've done in the past. And that's, and sometimes it takes a place of real pain to put you in that position. And I think a lot of people now, that by us sharing honestly like this, we can maybe help somebody to save themselves 10 to 15 years of going through hell, right?
Yeah.
If they could just tag on to something that we're saying here and spill the beans, right?
Oh yeah.
Because the person I worked with, he said to me, after I'd written everything down that I could remember, he said to me, "Is that it now? Just sit and think. Is there anything in there that you haven't disclosed to me that you're going to take to the grave with you?" Right?
Yeah.
And Shaz,
Yes.
there were things,
Oh God,
but the words, this is the whole thing, is they weren't the big horrible stuff that was quite plain to see. It was the small shitty things in my childhood that had found their way into some deep place and were buried alive in my psyche, right?
Absolutely.
It's a cleansing process. It's not a judgment process. It's a deep clean. But there's I can feel this going up my spine now, and if anybody's listening to this, if there's some reason where you can't stop some sort of destructive behavior, it won't be something that you're consciously aware of. It'll be something in your other than conscious or unconscious part or shadow side of you. Do yourself a favor. Find somebody you can trust and spill the beans. And I honestly believe that this was the good intentioned purpose originally of the Catholic confessional, right?
Yeah.
But I think man, or the manipulation of man, got in the way for various nefarious reasons and started to put a punishment alongside it, So that's where, Shaz, there's nothing I feel consciously that I'm hiding or I've forgotten, but there could be. And
more will be revealed, as they say, more will be revealed. I know if anything's revealed today, Joseph, I swear to God, hand on my arse, I say, you can fucking have it. Come here, I need to get this out. You can have it, and that's it, because I know that works. And you said it, a lot of it's unconscious. We my behaviours, I've had to look at my behaviours and my actions, and one of them was I'd go external to me and I'd want to help people and blah, 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 and I'd do all that, but there's no balance there. And then, there's unconscious stuff that's presented itself in terms of where I need to change. Otherwise, I'll carry on doing the same thing. And that's the beauty of it. You just said it. More is revealed. And I've no qualms of getting it out and sharing it with another today, because it's cleansing, as you just said.
Hey, love, and do you know what's made me, or given me the ability? I had the fear of what other people think about me taken away from me. I didn't remove it by saying, I don't care what you think. It was taken away and washed away. I really couldn't give two hoots. I meant to say two shits there, but there might be kids listening. But I really couldn't give two hoots what anybody thinks of me anymore. What I think and what I feel about myself at depth is more important to me now than anything else. And that's not selfish. That's called self-caring.
It's
because
freedom. Yeah,
I changed myself to suit everybody else. Now, that wasn't their fault. That was me trying to protect me and trying
yeah,
to please other people so that they wouldn't get too close and discover
close.
the truth about me,
Yeah,
that I was
yeah,
frightened, I was insecure, I had no self-worth, no self-esteem or anything like that. I was terrified of life and living life,
yeah,
and I know
yeah.
that you know exactly what I'm talking about here. And do you know
Absolutely,
what, Shaz?
absolutely.
I wouldn't say boo to a goose, but you know what? My purpose is as a leader or a way shower based
Yeah.
upon my experience, strength, and hope. I wouldn't want to mess with me if I was you.
Oh, you see, Joseph, I've got that thing in me where I want to say, I'll mess with you.
Yeah,
Joking aside, but it's funny, isn't it? Because the last week or so, me, I love to laugh, and I love other people to laugh because I think it's medicine, and I've got no opinion on anything political right now, me. I swear to God, and on my heart. So I'm posting stuff about Trump and blah blah, and then I had all this. Oh, there's divide and conquer, and there was no division on my part. And I don't know what the truth is, whether these Q-tips, I don't really care, to be honest. Yeah, honest to God, I don't care, because at the end of the day, my head will go into, well, what about these kids? He ain't saving these kids over here, blah, and I'll get caught up in all that. But at the end of the day, I just love to laugh. I love to make people laugh. I didn't need to justify or explain myself. I just thought, God bless you, you know. I respect your views, I respect your beliefs, I respect your opinion, and that's it. You know, I could go into the fall of the cabal and the Illuminati and all that stuff. But right now, my primary purpose is to, how I'm feeling, what my frequency is, what I'm vibrating, and that for me is part of the consciousness. And that's my part in the consciousness. And I'm not saying I don't have insecurities creep in and all the rest. Of course I do. But like you've just said, I look at it and I look at what's going on with me, and I share it with someone else, and I come back to my heart, because that's all I've got. That's all I've got.
how'd you
Which is
feel,
enough.
Shaz?
That's enough.
I mean, most of us, well, I'll talk about me. I knew what I was keeping back. I knew what I was holding down to a large degree consciously because of stuff that I'd done or committed, acts of commission, acts of omission, all that stuff, defects or shortcomings, call it what you like,
Yeah.
there's some
Where we
things.
harmed others, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's things that I've done that were over the top, and there's things that I should have gone forward on. So I maybe should have gone forward on some stuff and backed off on other stuff. I know now that in order to get to that balance point, I've got to let go of those two dualities or polarities, and I've
Yeah.
got to let go and drop into the center of my heart and say, I can see this school of thought thinking this, and there's this school of thought thinking that. I don't know. Bloop, please show me, right? And
Show
that's
me,
how
yeah.
it's. And they call it, some people call it the 0 points, but
0 point.
what I love about the 0 point is, in that zero contains everything. All information that's ever been accumulated or ever known is in that point. And I honestly think that you can sit there and ask with sincerity. You can say, can you just give me the information that I need to act upon here? And please also give me the courage to take the action, because
I
I
like that.
know, and so we're not just asking for some sort of thought. We're asking
Yeah.
for a feeling, a courageous feeling to drive us forward. But sometimes, Shaz, we're asking for a courageous feeling to drag us back as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's where I'm up to. To be honest with you, I've got no idea. And people ask me all sorts of questions, and they say to me, "You've got a PhD in medicine. You should know." You know what? I feel like even in that field, I'm blagging my way through it all the time. Right.
Yeah. 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 Oh, I love you, Joe. I just love you.
Because I sometimes, and what I like is, as well, is it gives us, alcohol gave us the ability to act extemporaneously. And so
Yeah.
when I picked up that, what does that mean, because I'd nod like that, oh yes, I know it did, I'd be thinking, don't
Yeah.
ask me what extemporaneously means, I've got to go and find out. So just for anybody who wants to know, it's the ability to act without a script. It's the
Yeah.
ability to act without thinking. It's to be spontaneous and just to be authentic in the moment without any editor coming in to stop our behavior,
Absolutely.
like I'm
Yeah,
doing now
yeah,
too. I'm going too quick here to stop and think about what I'm saying,
yeah,
But I mean, and
yeah.
I've noticed that I like frothed them out like some rabid dog when I'm on one, Well, I do that when and I notice when I'm doing that run, I think to myself, I must trim those nose hairs or get a shave. What will people think of me? And then I think, you don't care, do you, Joe? No, not at all.
No,
But
no.
what I'm
We have
saying
to
is,
remember. Yeah,
I think that my purpose, at least, is to share my experience, my strength, and my hope. The problem was that I knew what to do. I just didn't have the power to go and do it.
power.
It was the
Yes, that's
lack of
right.
power
Lack of
that was the
power. This is where I am.
dilemma. The
Yes.
dilemma. And it was that dilemma that was blocking me and stopping me from my heart sharing who I truly am,
Well,
Go on
that's
then, you'll go.
interesting. That's interesting, Joe, because it's funny, isn't it? I mean, I call it delusional myself, because as much as I've been through the way, our literature way, and I have, I totally went through the steps and the process of it, but I don't believe I had a solid step one. How nuts is that? How nuts is that? And lack of power, because I became the power. I've always been the power. I've always ran on my own power, and that's all, without going into the whole whys and hows of it. I've surrendered this week out there, and I've sobbed, and I feel I've got, it's like a feeling I've got this powerlessness, and what that power means, to rely on that power, because I always relied on human power.
Yeah.
I always relied on human power, including my own. And that comes from my past and my history. And it doesn't mean to say, the times I've been through the work, and I've been around a short time in recovery, which is only 7 years, and I got 4 years, but I believe I didn't have that solid step one. I could admit it, and I'd even tell myself I've accepted it at that gut level. But you see, my behaviours and my actions took me back, and I believe I became the power again. And I am absolutely powerless over certain things like alcohol, drugs. And I've just experienced that deep surrender again out there, because I forgot me. I forgot at the end of my madness, I'd lost a home. I was in a church and I knew I was dying, Joseph, and I cried out to this God, because I didn't understand what was going on, because I tried to, as we try and stop and stay stopped. And here we are again, back where we left off, believing, it'll be different. And I'm crying in this church and prone to seizures. I'm in an housing institution, and I cried out to this God. And I thought to myself, where did that desperation go? Where did that pain and angst of losing your children go, Shaq? Where did all that go? Where did that go? And then I heard myself, I said, even in that church, you said to this God, help me, because I don't know. Help me. Not will you help me? Not will God help me? So that's changed. That's, and I believe it's, that my heart and it says, doesn't it? In each and every one of us, we call it a higher self. Doesn't matter what term you want to put on it. It is within me and everything else. But I have to learn and understand that I rely on this power greater than myself.
Yeah. And I think, in simple terms, where I've come to is it's the duality of the two selves. There's a little S self, and that to me is the ego self, which is the human. And then there's the big S self, which is the higher self, the deeper self, but still me. It's still the I am, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm not really being empowered by something that's outside of myself, because if I need something to save me, then I'm still a victim, right? And that's very important now, because Jesus Christ is not saving me, but the Christ within me, right, which is basically my next level of evolution or development or whatever you want to call it. Because if I'm still looking outside of myself, to me, and this is just me explaining it, I'm still reliant on something. And if they're having a bad day or they've gone for a day trip, I'm in the shit then, because there's no connection. But my belief is it's the ego that separates self from source, because source is there all the time, and And we are source, and it comes from us and works through us and isn't us and everything else. And then my head gets wrecked. Well, what is it? And then again, it's all right, Joe. You don't need to know, because I am with you and I am you and you are me and we are all together. Why don't you go and enjoy yourself and have a nice cup of latte and a chocolate bun, right? And that's what it's come down to in the end is,
Yeah.
if I'm feeling disturbed, then I'm cut off from the sunlight of the spirit. Shaz, let me just say this, because I think it's important, and it seems to be coming up a lot, is people say that they're working off instinct. I'm not working off instinct anymore, because to me, instinct and gut instinct were fear conditioned defensive behaviors. I'm working now, what I feel is from heart intelligence, which is a balance from there and the gut.
You just took the words out of my mouth. You've just took the words, and that's it. So,
because you know, don't you, that our problem, and it clearly says this, is faulty logic and misdirected instinct. So what's the solution? The solution is that we let go and allow our instincts to be rebalanced from our heart intelligence. And this sounds a bit deep, but all I'm saying is,
I love that. Yeah.
So when you hand your instincts and the logic over to your heart intelligence, you will start to get bodily sensations of an almost human nature.
That's right. That is right. I've been listening to my body. This is it. Yeah, because that's it. And I've heard that a lot as well about the instincts. And I thought, Jesus, I was driven by my instincts. I was driven by my instinctual nature because I was frightened. I was surviving. And it's exactly, you just put it so well for me, that, because that's what's been happening. And it is letting go, and it is dropping into your heart space. It's joining the heart and the head together, because as you know, our heads, it'll take me away and I'll be driven by my fear. But my body's been speaking to me a lot clearer, Joe. My body's been speaking to me a lot clearer, and I'm able to just, we call it neutrality, don't we, where you can just bring it back to that and listen. Listen, and as you just said, if I don't know in that moment, it's later shown. You know, this conversation is just so much. What's the word I'm looking for? Say is the intellect, thinking she's intellectual, and I can't think of the word. It's confirmation for me. This is pure confirmation, and I love it. I absolutely thank you from my heart, and I mean that.
Love, this is a shared thing. I'm getting stuff from you. You're getting stuff from me. It's two people where two or more are gathered for good purpose. It's an energy exchange. So you will grow from this. I will grow from this. And that's what I feel when we come in to talk in this solution-centered way about finding the joy of our lives. Do you know what, Shaz? Here's something. Do you know when you're happier in yourself and you feel more joyful? Are you nicer to other people?
And yourself, and you're nicer to yourself.
Yeah. Of course, the answer is yes, of course I am. Well, there you are then. Well, if you find your joy and what makes you happy and it makes you a nicer person, end of story, right? But it doesn't mean to say that you have to take shit, because I used to think, oh, it's okay. They're firing all this crap at me. It's okay. I'll send them love and let them. No fucking, excuse my French, no chance. If someone's having a go at me now, I go like that. Woo, anger about. Thanks very much. Up yours, on your bike. Come back when you're being more respectful to yourself and myself. Because I used to think I had to be like some sort of guru, right? Like a sin sucker, right? That took all their shit, and as a consequence, they would feel better and I would feel crap. But that was my purpose in life, to swallow shit from other people. Guess what? It isn't. Because what I've been ingesting and digestion has been causing me all sorts of sickness and disease.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, and I understand that. Oh, yeah. And that's another word I've heard a lot lately. Respect, mutual respect. You know, I can be open and listen to your views and your opinions, but start lashing your shit at me. And then I have to, you know, I'm learning to say, hang on a minute, that's not okay. You know, you're entitled to your view, but don't put them on me. I have also got my own. And I probably don't even want to tell you what mine are now, because I'm going to go. I'm going to go because I'm just wasting my energy here. But I've heard the word respect a lot lately, Joe, a lot. And it is about mutual respect and being open to other people. But don't throw your shit at me. Don't try and impress upon me your views and I'm wrong if I don't agree with your or whatever. Or I've got to be loving and God bless you and God love you, yeah. I'll add that. But You know, it's great, isn't it, that we're able now to start stepping into that, because I was frightened of that stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I could tell you to F off and I could argue with you and all that stuff, but that's not my true self. That's not my true self.
I think a true conversation is not an argument, is it? I'm just expressing how I see things. You're expressing how you see things. I might see it in a slightly different way. And what I tend to do now is I don't get that she's wrong. I get that. No, I'll listen to that because there might be something in there that might be a benefit to my progress, you see. So that's a
Yeah.
big change in me because if you said one thing, the former Joe, if you'd have said something, I would have shut off now. I'm thinking she doesn't know what she's talking about. There's no benefit here for me. I'm
Yeah.
going to go somewhere else. And I have changed in that. It creeps back a lot, you know, because I lost all my fear, you know, basically, and became fearless, but arrogant at the same time then. You know, I got into this like super prideful, you lot don't know what you're talking about, and I do, you know. And I can see now that that's going to a large degree. Although the fear's gone, but the pride thing keeps sneaking back, you know.
The
I can
pride's
feel
massive.
it. Shaz, I
Yeah.
can feel it. How do I know it's sneaking back in? Because I start to feel uncomfortable in my body. And like
Discomfort.
you said, I never had an out of body experience. I just didn't have an in body experience. I've had to sort of allow my soul to get back in and
Back in.
inhabit itself and get back into the ground. You know, that's where
Yeah.
I'm up to. So all
Yeah.
that stuff about, because when I'm in my head doing rapid fire, whoosh, I go up into the universe. Right.
Oh yeah.
I'm back into Fantasy Island then.
Yeah. And that's a really important point you've made, because you see, and that's the reason why I drank to get in the way. I drank to, as you said earlier, to have no inhibitions. I drank to feel grounded and to be able to be all that stuff you said earlier. And for me right now, it's about being grounded, because, you know, my head can go off and get, you know, experience stuff, blah, blah, blah. But I need to be firmly rooted. I need to be in my body. I need to be in my body. You know, otherwise, you know, I'm out my body. When I'm in fear, I'm out my body. I need grounding. I need constant, me physical, you know, I'm physical. You know, we're mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, as you know. I need to be, and that's what my body's been speaking to me a lot more lately, which I've been getting on the trampoline of a morning, you know, and the neighbours can see me, and I love it. I'm on the trampoline, and I'm on the grass with my feet, and I'm sitting on the earth, and I absolutely love it. I love it. I love playing. I love just being able to do the stuff I could never do. And it's about being grounded. It's about being in my body. My physical is so important.
I always see the same picture when I'm talking to you of the
Really?
little girl.
Oh,
I always see love, and it makes me sad talking about it now. But I see that little girl who's got no fear. She's playing in open fields. There's nothing at all that can touch her, can harm her, or anything like. But she's full of awe and wonder. I get the same thing every time. Right.
I've got goosebumps.
So
Because
have
that was
I.
the time I was free was when I'd go to the woods. I mean, my childhood wasn't great. I'm not going to profess it was.
No.
You know, there was a lot of stuff that happened in my childhood. So that freedom I felt was when I was out there. You know, I used to read Enid Blyton's Magic Faraway Tree, you know, The Enchanted, and all that stuff. I felt free, and I'd go to the woods and stuff. But then that'd go, and I'd be back in the home, and then I'd be back in the fear, and I'd be back in all the madness and all that stuff. But I felt goosebumps, and I was going to say to you, my defence came in when you mentioned the little girl. I was going to say, oh God, you sound like my sponsor, because I can bristle, because, you know, that little, I'm starting to get back, I'm getting in touch with her. You know, she was a lovely little girl, but I was that kid on the estate, oh, don't hang around with her, she's a trouble causer. I was always up to no good, blah. And I was none of that stuff.
No.
I was none of that stuff.
See, I see now clearly that girl is the free you. I can see it clearly. And I have little Joe who's the same as well. He was full of awe. He liked to take things to pieces and trying to work out what it was all about. And then the other people's conditions, other societal stuff and all that, the fear condition, it formed this sort of sheath around us, which was the defensive sheath of the ego. And I can see now that that's the false self. That's not the real self. That's the deep, and that's the ducking and diving and dodging and weaving self. That's not true.
Bible, yeah.
And that becomes the
we were very
pretentious self.
sensitive, yeah. Yeah, and I had a lot of illnesses as a child as well, to boot, as well as like a lot of abuse, single parent. My mum was an addict, absent father, but there was a lot of moving around. There was never any security, never any settlement. But like yourself, I was very, very sensitive, Joseph. Very, 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 very sensitive. So I'd walk in a room, I'd pick up on an atmosphere, and I'd think it was my fault. I always thought everything was my fault.
What have I done?
Yeah. I mean, mother would say, "What's to do with your face? What have you done?" And I hadn't done anything. But I had a lot of, I had the hip disease like you. So I was separated anyway in my mind because I had these calipers. I felt ugly. I felt my mother hated me because she couldn't show the love. So I internalized an awful lot of stuff. There was a lot of external abuse that went on as well. So, but that little girl loved to laugh and play. I couldn't express myself, and I can do that today.
You know what's happening to me is I do a lot of stretching now, and I follow quite a lot of yoga stuff and all that. And what's actually happening to me is the hip thing and the scoliosis thing has got worse again. And I've asked Spirit, why is it getting worse? Because you're supposed to help me. And I'm getting, Joe, we're helping you to let go of the defenses, right? So that you can actually reset and recalibrate and reconstitute and reconstruct your true self. And I'm thinking, well, can you put that in other words? Yeah, we've got it sorted. Just follow the instructions. Because I went out this morning, Shaz, at 7 o'clock. I ran for 6.5 miles, right? When I say ran, I'm plodding along. I did a bit of a live thing and all that, which I enjoy doing. And I can see that it says many years of reconstruction lay ahead, right?
Wow.
Because I was hoping that like it would all be like step into tomorrow and I'd be a perfect person physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It doesn't seem to be working like that in me. However, I'm 65 years of age. I don't take any medication unless I have to. I'm not opposed in the slightest to medication or vaccines if they have been tested thoroughly, properly, and honestly, if they're given in the right amount at the right time for the right condition. I've got no problem. Shaz, I'm a PhD examiner in medicine and biomedicine, right? My job is to be acutely, constructively critical about the way research is done, right? And I have to say that what's going on in that 3D vision thing out there, to me, it makes me feel uncomfortable, right? When I listen to a lot of this stuff. Now, I'm not trying to cause trouble here. All I'm trying to say is, to me, if something smells fishy, I have to take a step back and get to the root of the smell, right? And I'm beginning to discover more and more and more about just how misguided and misaligned the material world seems to be, right? And I think that this great big shift that you alluded to before, it's a cleansing wave that will bring all the dross up to the surface, including that's in ourselves as well. So it's not really about what's going on in others. It's really about allowing all this graceful energy and this tide of cleanliness to bring the shit up in us so that we can see it and say, oh yes, I'll own that now. I see the correct action to take. I'll do that now. And off we go forward. What have you got to say about that?
I should have wrote it down. I'm joking. The thing is, right, Joe, and I hear you and I agree with you there. I mean, I was thinking about this yesterday, what's going on and all the rest of it. And, that the planet's security is threatened at the minute. And where's our security based? It's in the base of the spine, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's in this. And I mean, I'm not saying my security isn't threatened in certain areas or hasn't been in certain areas, but in terms of what you've just said about the medication and the inoculate, the immunization stuff, I'm so glad you said it, because if you're uncomfortable with something, you've got to look at and suspicious. If I'm feeling suspicious, then I have to listen. I have to, and it's not from my mind. It's from me heart. I know you understand what I'm saying there in terms of that. I mean, I'm going back. You see, me, Joe, language and all the language I can hear out there on spiritual sites and blah 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 blah. I used to go over my head. I used to just go by my experience, and I used to say to a friend, there's energies coming in. I know there's energies coming in. I can feel. I used to get this intensity going on. I could feel it collectively, I could feel this resistance going on. So my whole body used to be in like, and I'd know when it'd be a new moon, a full moon. I wouldn't follow it, but my body would tell me, I'm that sensitive. And then it all stopped around the Lionsgate last August. Now, I didn't know that it was the Lionsgate or August, but when I joined the dots, you see, the energies had changed. Or I don't know whether they changed just for me and everyone else, but my body, the intensity started to go. That intensity started to go. I've gone off on one here. So for me, the symptoms, if you want to call them symptoms, that of what was going on. See, all the language and all the stuff, and that's when I started listening to the likes of Sology and getting that confirmation of what was going on for me. But right now, I believe there's a balance. There's a balance going on. Whether that's because I feel quite balanced today.
I feel strong, forthright, clear, calm, yet powerful as well. And I know that power is not coming from my ego self. It's not ego or head generated. It's coming from a deeper part of me that's got a purpose. And some people say, no, we're not. There's no purpose to life. No, I don't. I'm just explaining the way I feel, right? And what about the future? What does the future hold? Nothing to do with me, because I'm following a set of principles that say, Joe,
thank you.
Wake up, hand over, enjoy the best of the day and make the best of it. Yeah, but what about tomorrow, Joe? Yesterday is history and tomorrow is a mystery. It's got nothing to do with you, Joe, because you handed over the management of your life to me, your big mind, your I am presence, your soul, call it what you like. You've said to me, guide me. So get out of the way and stop interfering with the process, because we have got it sorted. We've got it sorted, right? And
that's it. You said it. The more I mind my own business, and I get out the way and I trust, that's enough. That doesn't mean to say I don't have to take responsibility, or I'm irresponsible. I have a trust. I have the universe has spoon-fed me, Joseph, and that's not coming from me. I swear to God, it's not. In terms of me counselling, I have a skin. I come from a treatment centre from the streets, for Christ's sake. And I got into recovery and I got into volunteering and I was giving me a little bit back, blah, blah, blah. And then I always thought I'd love to get into some, kind of counselling. And thereafter, I put it out there. I said, well, I don't know how that's going to come about, but I believe it's in me, to be able to want to give. And the next thing I know, I'm getting a course free that would have cost me £700. Then the diploma, which would have cost over £4,000.
Yeah.
And then here I am working in a service, to get me counselling hours, me 100 hours as part of my diploma. Now I'm going into the prison to do a bit of volunteering. Now I've been offered jobs and I've turned them down because I had a plan. So what I'm saying to you is, even though I trust and have faith, I stuck to my focus, and jobs have come in and I remember thinking on the phone, the manager saying to me, we've looked at this for you, and I thought, I'm letting someone manage my life here. No, you stick to your goals, Shaq. You stick to your goals and you trust and have faith, because you're being spoon-fed, you're being shown, you're being led, you're being guided, you're being given. Even my books, that would have cost a lot of money. I was on a retreat and a lady said to me, I've got a load of counselling books there, a lot of literature, and drop them off at my house. So I have that trust and faith, but I can't forget. I can get caught up in my mind, but I have trust and faith. That's what's meant for me. It won't pass me. As long as I'm putting right action in and I'm looking after me in that, for me to go and get a job at that time because of financial insecurity, I've been provided for. I've been provided for every step of the way.
Same as me, love, same as me. And like you, I make mistakes all the time. I'm not bothered about it, because if I make a mistake, right, I will feel it, right. And maybe at the time I don't want to say I've just talked a load of shit there, or I'm sorry. Maybe I don't want to say it, but at the end of the day, I sit down, I review my day, and I do this. Where did I feel uncomfortable? Because discomfort, it's an emotional. Well, it's an emotional.
Stores in the body, doesn't it?
Yeah. But emotion, energy, motion means drive. So it's a motivation to either take one choice or the other. If you make the wrong choice, it'll make you feel disturbed. And so if you can't sort it out then in a spot check inventory, you can do an end of the day inventory. Carl Rogers talked about this. He talked about,
Absolutely.
he talked about inaction or on action, you know what I mean? And so when you get good at it, what you're supposed to do is correct it straight away as you feel that. Yeah, but Shaz, I don't do that all the time. You know what I mean?
Not all the time, no.
But I do it more than I ever did, and I feel okay with it. You know.
Yeah. And
I've
awareness is key, isn't it? Awareness is key, isn't it? Awareness of it is key. When we're disturbed, you just make a mental note of how I'm disturbed. So awareness is key.
Here's something else I found is I don't read books now for information. I read books now for confirmation, because the information comes to me first and then it's confirmed. Right. Before, I used to try and pile all this information on, and it seems to be coming from a library within myself now. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this is confirmation for me today. This is all confirmation for me today. And that's what Zoology gave me, and Sean. And I don't know whether Sean's watching, but I'm going off here a little bit. Congratulations to Sean and Steve for the arrival of that beautiful child twin. Oh my Lord. But yeah, to the likes of Zoology, yourself, Sean, it's confirmation. And that's what caught my attention, because I couldn't make head nor tail of what was going on. I knew I was sensitive. I knew I was feeling stuff, and it wasn't mine, collective. Yeah. So it was all confirmation. And I was frightened of that. I was frightened that, if I try and explain that to you, you'll think all that stuff. I used to get frightened. So it was like, for me, I'd arrived somewhere again. There's other people. It's a massive. This is massive, Shaq. This is what's going on planetary and outside the planet, which I don't know much about, if I'm being brutally honest. It's massive. There was a massive shift in 2012, and that's it. It's just confirmation, like you said. I'd be trying to read books, spiritual books, and my soul couldn't. It's like my soul was saying, "Hello, no." So, and I was a reader, Joe. I was a reader. I was an avid reader. But it's like I couldn't retain anything, and it was like stuff you already know that this is already stuff you already know. It was different books, but in principle, it was saying the same thing. So I couldn't read the books. And my confirmation comes from other places, like you just said.
Well, people say to me, "Have you read this? Have you read that? You'll probably enjoy that." I honestly have not got time to read anything. In fact, when some things that people put up on Facebook, I'll read about 2 lines, get a sense of, and then it's not that I don't care about what they're saying, right? Because I do, right? But the point is, if in the first couple of lines, right, if it doesn't hook me in, then I just whiz it through, you know what I mean? Because I'm allowing my intuition to show me what's relevant for me in that moment, rightly or wrongly, because, that's where I'm up to at the moment, because I've got to see, I'm doing that frothy rabbit thing again. I've got to believe that this intelligence that's guiding me knows everything anyway, end of story. Yeah. And you know what? If it doesn't, I want a better version. I want an updated model. I want a different download and a recorrection of my internal operating system,
Yeah.
And I'm not bothered whether your God's more powerful than mine. We did that with religions, didn't we? That religion's not the best, but this is better. Then you can change. It's like football teams and all that. I can see clearly now the nonsense of it all for me. Now, some people might think that I'm going, but and here's another thing is, I believe fundamentally at the base of all major religions on the planet, they're saying the one thing, that love will set you free, right? And to thine own self be true. And then don't think any more about that. Just be true to yourself, And Shaz, I know that we have a deep love as well for things ancient Egyptian and all those connections. And I do honestly believe that there are astronomical, astrological changes taking place in the cosmos with a K, right, that will affect us puny humans on this planet, right? And I think it's bigger than us, Shaz. And maybe if we can just say, I've got no idea, have your way with me, but give us a clue, then over to you, big boy, big girl, or whatever,
Or whatever. Yeah, well, that was me this morning coming on here. I thought, you know what? You see, you know, what part of me was, you know, wanting to sound clever and I get it right and just go as you are, and be who you are and trust. And as you just said, I ain't got the bigger picture. I ain't got the bigger picture. I just experience like yourself, and I love you, Joseph, because you're
And
real.
I love
And
you too,
you know,
darling, and we've never met each other, but we will do. You know,
we'll
when
have
this
to.
when this lockdown, or even when my don't say that, you'll sneak under the radar, Joe. No, but you know, right?
Well, my head around this stuff. I mean, Jesus, I'm conforming here. I don't like conforming. I don't like to conform. You know, the lockdown. I mean, I've got common sense, but
Yeah.
Jesus, I loved it. Honestly, and that doesn't mean I'm insensitive
No.
or, you know, there's sadness and fear going on and there's stuff. But you know what? In fact, my kids are ringing me more now. So nothing's really changed in my world other than, you know, I've had a bit more peace. And it's, you know, I believe it's all meant to be, whatever. That's just my belief.
Let me tell you about my mum, Shaz. My mum, 5 weeks ago, was dying. It was at the start, it was the day that this COVID thing started. She was rushed to hospital. Myself, my sister, and my brother-in-law were at her bedside in the A&E department, right? And we had to go in singly because it was all they were starting to isolate and all that. And she was lying there. Her heart was on its way out, right? She was on all sorts of drips and ECG machines and all that. And this is my prayer, dear God, because this is how I talk to myself. Dear God, if it's time, I'm nearly crying here talking about this, but if it's time for me mother to go, right, then let her go quickly, please, without any pain. You know, and I said to me dad, who's in spirit, he went 3 years ago, you know, I said, Dad, if you're there, get hold of her now, will you? Hand in hand and take her off to somewhere nice. And this is me at the end of the bed. Anyway, 5 hours later, after all the intravenous antibiotics, she sat up and said, can I have a crisp butty? Right.
Oh my God.
Right. And it was like, you're having a laugh, aren't you, mother? I've just anyway, cut a long story short, she was in there until she was diagnosed as COVID negative, right? Or COVID, you know, and the antibiotics, but she had pneumonia and stuff like that. So they asked us to get shut of her from the hospital as quickly as possible then. Well, we couldn't allow her to go back home and all this stuff. So what happened was my daughter is she's the Northwest Regional Manager for nursing homes, and I had to ring her up and said, love, have you got any places in you? She said, well, we have that actually. And so anyway, she went there. But then for the next 3 weeks, Shaz, I had to go and visit my mum, right? And look at her through the window. Do you know what I mean? It was like going to the zoo. And she's like mouthing things. And I'm saying, oh, you're all right, mum. And all that. Anyway, cut a long story short, my sister's looking after now. She's out. She's 89 years of age yesterday. Wow. She was laughing and joking and could remember things from the past. It was like a bloody miracle. She's probably gone now, and she's probably gone now while we're talking about it. You know what
I mean? Oh, that's lovely! Wow.
My human side of me, right, was thinking it must be my mum's side, but the divine side of me was thinking that's what you think, and that's where I am most of the time now, Shaz. There's always an element of doubt in me, just in case the information I'm receiving isn't correct.
Yeah, right. Just in case. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So there you go, love. It's a wonderful life. It's very peculiar. Day at a time. It feels like we're doing okay. Does that mean to say I've got it cracked? Not in the slightest. I know, Shaz, that if I picked up one drink, then I'd be dead in no time. And I'd probably take a load of people with me before I went as well.
Yeah. And that's it, Joe. Yeah, I mean, bloody hell. I'm aware of the time. Someone's just come in and told me about my breakfast, but I'll say this, you know, that shows me, you know, and I know, you know, the power's within me, and I get all that. But you see, that relapse showed me. I mean, I was prone to seizures. My body can't take it. I was a bottom drunk, as we call it. You know, and my choice wasn't to pick up, but I've looked at the areas of what took me back, and that for me is because I love life, like yourself. I love life. I love being sober. I love being clear-minded, and all the things I say to myself is just today, I am enough. I am enough, and I do my best. and that's enough, isn't it?
Shaz, I've got a big thing going up my spine. I love you. I love your sense of humour. Keep doing what you're doing, kid, because it seems to
And
be
you.
working. And hopefully we can have a talk again in a few weeks' time.
Okie doke, just keep me updated, and you know, love to you and your mum and your family, Joe.
Thanks very much, darling. See you soon.
Take care. Lovely to see you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.